of leasing gold and having a legitimate currency, the hat-trick letter is going to be fine. If they don't, and it's heavily devalued, I don't know what's going to happen, Rick.
How does this work? How, if China leases gold to the Federal Reserve, how does this work?
Well, China basically says, we've got 10,000 tons of gold. We'll lease it to you. We will not put it on U.S. soil where you guys would steal it like you steal everything not nailed down. We'll keep it in a foreign location and maybe not even tell you where it is, but through contractual obligations, we will back your new treasury note dollar. And in return for this, we want favorable policies for asset acquisition inside the United States. I'm talking about industries, farms, commercial buildings, etc. Ports. They already own most of the ports. I don't think they own the New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia port system. They own the Pacific ports in California and Seattle and Vancouver, but that's Canada. The Chinese would then say, we want to write your banking policy. We want to write your trade policy. We want to write your immigration policy. And we want to write your war policy, which is basically shutting it down. In other words, the Chinese would become a member of the tribunal to dictate American policy or dictate policy within the United States.
China would allow the United States to continue to operate at a reduced level, a reduced standard of living, but without a Madmax type of scenario. And in return, China gets basically to purchase the assets of the USA.
And 1/3 of all output. Take, for example, the southwestern farms that grow alfalfa. This has been the case for over 2 years. I'm talking about Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, California. Alfalfa farms export 1/3 of their hay feed to China for livestock feed. I did a feature a few months ago, I think it was September or October, of the Chinese free trade zone activity in the United States. And one company in Alabama was making copper tubing, probably still does. They employ a lot of people, like 200, 250 people. They got some nice grants for, reduced property taxes or things like that, income tax abeyance for maybe a year or two. But the upshoot, I went immediately for what do they produce and where's it go? And there you had it. 1/3 of all the copper tubing output went to China. So the investment of China in the United States is to secure output, but at the same time, it will help to relieve the $500 billion trade deficit on an annual basis. And relieving that trade deficit, narrowing that trade deficit, reducing that trade deficit, that's exactly how you bring about a stable new currency. So the Chinese deal could actually be positive for both sides. I like the way you put that. Reduced standard of living in return for no Mad Max scenario. What I like to say is the Chinese colonization would take place, and the rub, the negative side, would be lower income and very reduced fringe benefits like health coverage, pensions. The pension system in the United States is being destroyed right now. Right now. So China's got something to offer, Rick, and I think what's going to happen is the U.S. is going to reject it, and then they're going to be staring at the 11th hour and realizing third world is right around the corner at 2 a.m., and they'll decide, well, maybe we should take that Chinese deal, and maybe we could just work out some better details where some of the U.S. elite can take a nice, healthy bribe on every single table that the Chinese sit at.
Jim, one final question.